Hello, this is Emily, and you don't want to know how many times I tried to record this already, but maybe this will be the one. I just want to talk to you guys a little bit about my history as a student, where I've come from, where I hope to eventually become in my education, and um, in my eventual career. I grew up in Park City, Utah from a very young age. I hope to eventually become a doctor. I surrounded myself with really intelligent children when I was younger, and um, early on it seemed that if you're going to be a cool kid, you were going to be very smart. And so I pushed myself to be not just a grade ahead in math, but 2 grades ahead. And I always found myself the bottom statistic, like in the bottom percentile of that 2 years ahead group. And so even though I was 2 years ahead, um, I felt kind of dumb, honestly, because while I was struggling, the kids in my classes were doing really well. But I think part of it was my parents and their influence, and they wanted me to be 2 years ahead, to be ahead for whatever reason. And I think in some cases it was good, but then in others it um, ended up being more of a difficult thing than a benefit for me. I when I left high school, I had taken 2 years of calculus, and I got to BYU. Tried to take calculus. It was absolutely the worst thing ever. And kids that were, you know, average, normal, standard level, they were taking AP statistics when we were seniors in high school, and that proved to be far more useful in college. I wish that I would have taken that class, and I think it would have helped my BYU statistic experience to be a little bit better. Um, I've had many teachers and coaches influence my decisions. Anytime that I had a professor tell me that they didn't think I was smart enough or good enough to be in their classroom, I turned right around and I found another professor that would take me. That happened to me when I got back from my mission. I had served in Argentina and Paraguay, and when I didn't pass that first qualifying exam to get into 321, Spanish 321, I met with a professor and she went over um, my exam, and she told me um, that she refused to take me because I wouldn't perform very well in her class, and she didn't want to take anyone that wasn't going to do very well in her class. And so I was very discouraged at first and felt like, well, maybe I shouldn't be taking 221, maybe I should take 205. Then I had other people telling me that 205 would be too easy for me, and so I didn't know what exactly to do with that. I eventually went and talked to the Spanish department head, and she just put me into a 321 class, and I did perfectly fine. Um, Honestly, the only reason why I ended up getting a B plus and not an A was because I failed to turn things in on time. And honestly, turning things in on time and procrastinating has been one of my biggest weaknesses while being at BYU. In high school, it wasn't really a big deal if you turned in anything late, or I was really good at spending 5 minutes before class to get everything done or to share answers with your classmates. And obviously in college, it's a totally different ballgame. You can't do that, and it's taken me a long time to break those habits and to understand that to be less stressed, to have control over my anxiety, I need to not only be on time but be ahead. Also, it's the first week of school and I'm already sick, so this should be great. Um, yeah, I started to experience testing anxiety from a pretty young age, and I felt as though even if I had studied really hard, I still was not performing very well. To a certain degree, I think that's true, but also I have been able to have experiences where I have studied and I have been successful, and I have to continue to remind myself that I have the capacity to be successful. And I think that's been one of the hardest things that I have experienced while being here at BYU is feeling capable of getting good grades, feeling capable of being in that 95th percentile when I haven't necessarily pushed myself in the right ways to receive those exemplary grades. Um, as I mentioned earlier, I have plans of becoming a physician, and that takes a lot of hard work, and it takes being successful as a student and pushing yourself in your education. I hope to change habits. I hope to change the way I learn to in a way so that I retain the information that I study. I feel that after 5 years of being at BYU, I haven't learned a lot, and that's really sad. It's really sad that I spent money and hours and tears over tons of content and material, and I don't remember any of it. I think that's really sad. As I prepare to take the MCAT again, I feel all kinds of anxiety. I worry that I won't have a higher score even after studying longer. And so, especially after sitting in this class for the first time, I've realized like it doesn't matter how long I study. If the quality is terrible, I'm going to learn nothing. And so that is what I hope, that I will finally learn how to study, practice studying, and that I will be ready and confident to take the MCAT, to apply for medical school, to be a graduate student. That is my biggest hope, because I do love to learn and I do love school. Um, so I hope that I can change those habits and that I can evolve as a student and as a person, and that the determination and perseverance that I have come to have in my character, that I can apply that to my learning and my studying, and that I can improve as a student. And that is all. Thank you for listening.